Okay. Students, in the previous classes, what we have learnt, do you remember? In the previous classes, we have learned something about tenses. Am I right? About simple tense and also continuous or progressive tenses. Do you remember? Okay. Fine. In this class, I am going to discuss with you about another type of tense, that is perfect tense. What is mean by perfect? If we prepare for an exam completely, we have studied all the portion, we have completed all the works, then what will we say? I have done the work perfectly, which means that particular work was completed completely. Completed not partially, but it was completed completely. Okay, that is what called perfect. Similarly, in tenses, the word perfect means completed action, an activity which was already done completely. Okay. So, what is meant by perfect? Perfect means complete, a completed action. This perfect tense can easily be identified. How can we identify? For continuous tense, I told you that for continuous, we can identify the sentence is continuous by looking at the verb in the ing form. I am running. He is playing. Okay. For perfect tense, we can identify it easily by the helping words have, has, had. So, in a sentence, if you find the helping verbs like have, has or had, then that particular sentence is a perfect tense type of sentence. Okay. How can you identify the sentences in a perfect form? We can see the helping verbs like have or has or had plus past participle form of the verb. What is meant by past participle? Participle is also denoting an activity which was completed already, which was done already. Participle. What is meant by participle? It denotes the completed action. That is called participle. So, past participle form of the verb. For example, walk is the present form. Walked is the past participle form. So, past participle form usually ends with ed or en. Okay, it denotes the completed action. So, past participle, what is meant by verb? Verb is an action word. So, past participle form of verb, here the verb is denoting the completed action. Want ends with ed. Taken ends with en. Okay, so such words, an action word that denotes a completed activity, that is called participle. So, how can we identify a perfect tense? What is meant by perfect tense? Perfect tense means completed action, an action or activity which was completed. Okay, so perfect tense means completed action. Participle form of verb means a verb which is indicating a completed action. So, how can we identify the perfect tense? By looking, if you look at a sentence, there will be certain helping verbs like have or has or had plus past participle form of the verb. For example, have walked, has taught, had taught, had walked, had finished, have finished, has finished. So, by looking at these helping verbs, we can identify whether the tense is in the perfect form. Okay, verb is changing based on the time. That is what called tense is. We have learned all these in the previous I hope you remember everything. So perfect tense, what is meant by perfect tense? A completed action. An action which was completed already. And it has helping verbs like have or has or had. There are three kinds of perfect tense, and before that, perfect tense can also be known as simple perfect tense. Just like simple present tense, simple past tense, simple future tense, we can say perfect tense as simple perfect tense. There are three kinds of perfect tenses. What are they? Present perfect tense, past perfect tense and future perfect tense. Students, what are the three kinds of perfect tenses? Present perfect tense, past perfect tense and future perfect tense. What are the three kinds of perfect tenses? Tell me. Present perfect tense, past perfect tense and future perfect tense. How can we identify the perfect tense? By looking at the helping verbs like have, has or had. Now, let's see the verb form for present perfect tense, past perfect tense and also future perfect tense. First, present perfect tense. Already I have told you, I have told. Just now, what did I say? I have told. Here, we have, I used a perfect form. I have told. Here have is denoting, this helping verb is denoting the sentence just now I said is perfect with a past participle form of the verb. Okay, leave that. Now, present perfect tense, the verb form for present perfect tense is have or has plus past participle form of the verb. For what should we use have for the first person and second person? For third person, he, she, it, we have to use the helping verb has. For first and second have, for third person has. Okay, third person singular plus has plus past participle form of the verb. For example, I have walked. I have played. He has played. She has played. We have played. Okay, so for present perfect tense, how is the verb form? Have or has plus past participle. What is meant by past participle? The participle means completed action. The verb is denoting the action is completed. For example, walk. Walk, is it a completed action? No. Walked is a completed action. Okay, so past participle words ends mostly with en or ed. Okay, that is past participle, completed action. It's a verbal adjective. Past participle is a verbal adjective. This past participle is indicating a completed action. Already perfect means completed action. Past participle form of the verb means completed action. Now, let's come to the past form. For past perfect tense, what is the verb form? Have. For present, have or has plus past participle form of the verb. For past tense, already the action was completed. Here for past, the verb form is had plus past participle form of the verb. Then what about future? For future perfect tense, shall or will, already we know this is the helping verb we have to use for future. Shall or will plus have. Here we should not use has or had. Okay. Will, shall or will plus have plus past participle form of the verb. Till this, can you understand, students? What are the verb forms for perfect tense? Have, has or had plus past of the verb. Perfect denotes completed action. Now let's see about present perfect tense. Present perfect tense indicates an action which has just completed just before. Actually, perfect tense denotes the connection between the past and the present. For example, this is present tense, this is future, and this is past. Here, an action happened at this time. It has a connection with this present time, or the present, just an action which completed just before. A completed action, but it happened just before. For example, I have finished the work just now. The work has been completed. Here, finished work. It is here in the past time, but it is related to the present. It is just before. It happened just before. Now I am talking about a work which happened or which was done just before 1 hour or just in the morning, in the early morning or in the morning. Now it's afternoon time. I am talking about something. I am talking about a completed work which happened just before 2 hours. I have completed my work just before or just now. So, the perfect tense, present perfect tense is denoting or it is indicating an action which was completed just before. Okay, so it has a connection between the present tense and the past tense. Now, look at this example. We visited the museum yesterday. We visited the museum yesterday. Is this a perfect tense? No. This is a completed action and it is denoting the time. Am I right? We visited the museum yesterday. It is denoting the time and it is indicating the past action, and so it is not a perfect tense. It is past tense. It is not past perfect. Okay. We have visited the museum. This is perfect tense. How? Here there is no, they did not mention the time. So in present perfect tense, we cannot expect the time. We have visited the museum. This is a present perfect tense. We have the helping verb have plus past participle form of the verb. There is no specific time here. No definite time is mentioned here in this sentence. We have visited the museum. We have visited the museum, which means we have visited the museum maybe just before. A completed action, but there is no specific time. There is no definite time. Okay. So, present perfect tense do not mention the time. It will not specify any specific or definite time. That is the first point. And the second is the action was completed and it has a connection with the present. Okay. So how can we identify the perfect tense? With the help of the words have or has or had. So for simple present tense is indicating an action which was completed just before, a completed action. It has a connection with the present. There will be no specific time for the completed action. Okay, this is all about simple perfect tense. I will write another example. Perfect tense denotes an action which was completed in the past, but sometimes the action which was completed in the past has its connection with the present. For example, Ashwin has eaten all the biscuits. Now, a guest is coming to my home. Just before somebody has eaten all the biscuits, so there is nothing to give for the guests. So I am informing to the guests that Ashwin has eaten all the biscuits. That's why I have nothing to give. Okay, so here an action, biscuits, all the biscuits have eaten by somebody. It is an action which happened in the past, but it has its effect in the present, and that's why I have nothing to give for the guests. That's why I am informing to the guests that Ashwin has eaten all the biscuits, so I have nothing to give. Here, the action here, it states the completed action, but it has its effect in the future. Okay, so Ashwin has eaten all the biscuits. This sentence is denoting a past action, past completed action, not a past continuous action, past completed action, but it has a impact or effect in the present time. Okay, so what is meant by present perfect tense? An action which was completed just in the immediate past, or in the immediate past, which means just now, just before. Okay, now he has written a letter. If I say the word, he wrote a letter yesterday, which means it is indicating the past action, but he has written a letter. This is a completed action in the immediate past without mentioning the time. Okay? So perfect tense means completed action. Students, past perfect tense is indicating two past activities, two completed activities. One completed activity plus another completed activity is past perfect tense. For example, simple past sentence plus simple past sentence. Now, I had written a letter. This is a simple past perfect tense. Am I right? I had written a letter. I had written in the past. It was a past completed activity which has no relationship with the present. In the present perfect tense, we have seen that the past sentence or the past activity has its connection with the present. Am I right? Past activity has its connection with the present, the action which just completed. But here, in past perfect tense, there is no connection between the past tense and the present tense. The activity or the action which happened already in the past. Here, an activity was happened in the past, another activity was happened in the past. It has no connection with the present. In present perfect tense, the past activity has its connection. But in past perfect tense, there is no connection with the present and the past. Okay. Here it is indicating a past activity which happened before another past activity happened. Now look at this example. I had written a letter when I was in Chennai. When I was in Chennai, this itself is a past activity. This happened before. Okay. This is the first activity, completed activity. This is the second completed activity. We are not in Chennai. It was a past action. This is also a past action. Okay. So, it has no connection with the present time. These two are the action or activities which was completed already in the past. It has no connection with the present, just like present perfect tense. So, simple or past perfect tense is indicating an action which happened already in the past. Okay. I had written a letter. letter. I had written a letter before I came to know that she completed writing, or something like this. So here I am talking something about an action which happened already in the past, which was a completed action which happened in the past. Can you understand, students? Now come to future perfect tense. Future perfect tense is indicating an action which will happen, which will complete at a specific time or at a particular time. Now the action has not completed. In future, the action, already future means future tense is indicating an action which will happen in future. Am I right? So future perfect tense means in future the activity or the action will be done, will be completed. Okay. Now look at these examples. They will have reached Chennai by next Thursday. They haven't reached Chennai yet, but by next Thursday it will happen. By next Thursday they will reach the particular place. So here this is a future sentence, but it is indicating an action which will complete at this particular time. By next Thursday they will be there. It is indicating an action which was completed at this particular time. They will have reached Chennai by next Thursday. If I say they will reach Chennai by next Thursday, it is not a perfect tense. They will have reached Chennai. We will also use the same sometimes for future. Next year, I will be doing this. Or next year, I will become a teacher. I will become a doctor. Okay. So, it is indicating an activity which will happen in the future, but the activity is a completed activity. It's a perfect activity. They will have reached Chennai by next Thursday. By next Thursday, it will be a past action. It will be a completed action. So, past perfect tense is indicating an action which will happen in the future at a specific time, which will happen, and it will be a completed action. It is not a continuous progressive action. It will be a completed action. So, completed actions is known as perfect tense. Okay. If a past completed action has its connection with the present, then it is present perfect tense. If an action which happened, a completed action which happened in the past before another action, then it is past perfect tense. An action, a completed action which will happen in the future, then it is future perfect tense. This is all we have seen in this class. Have you understood, students? Now look at another example. Zaya will have written the exam by this time tomorrow. Zaya has not written the test yet. She will write the test tomorrow. But tomorrow it will be a completed action. Zaya will have written the exam by this time tomorrow. Zaya will complete her exam by the same time tomorrow. Here it is also indicating an action, a completed action, but it is not yet completed. It will complete in future. So an action, a completed action which will happen in the future at a specific time, then it is future perfect tense. So how can you identify the perfect tense? By using the helping verbs like have, has or have. Will have is indicating future perfect tense, which means an action, a completed action which will happen tomorrow, which will happen in the future. Had plus verb in the past participle form is indicating the past perfect tense, which means a completed action in the past. Have or has plus past participle form of the verb is indicating a completed action which has its connection with the present time. Is that clear, students? I hope you all have understood our today's class. See you all in the next class, students. Until, take care. Thank you.